I'm not though. Okay, guys, so I'm gonna just display the chat right now so that it can come up in. Okay, guys, so basically we are fin to go ahead and play Control and get this popped off. And by doing this, we are finna go ahead and click this button right here, and then go over here and okay, so they see. Okay, so yeah, we gotta fight. It was kind of impeding my view, but now I can see, so let's get to it. Okay. I feel like we can really do damage if I go in with the grip and the shatter. I mean, the pierce and the shatter. For the simple fact of
Okay. I'm just going to freestyle. My mother always said, never talk.
Looks like whatever force had a hold on Hartman isn't mixing well with his crowd.
Fixed it. Bye, play. I'll tell you the truth.
What's the tallest guy that your daughter's dated? She hasn't dated. Okay, what's the tallest guy that your daughter has brought over to be home with?
Never.
What do you do for work? What's up? What do you do for work?
Did call him the thing.
I work. You know what I'm
But isn't a stranger just someone
What do you do?
you don't know? What if the only thing
When it comes to
stopping a
female
stranger
attraction,
from being a
what's
friend?
more important? Hair, height, nose size, or forehead depth? It's not forehead depth, it's just depth. It's forehead depth. It's just forehead depth? Yeah, like his depth.
Maybe like the noises you hear at night when there is no light. It's you cannot hide. Strange every time that it class because the noise scares you. Then you have to clean up. The coffee while the duck stares at you and continues to quack. Quack. Quack.
What's an ideal first date?
I feel like anywhere we are at is a perfect date.
Walk? Well, you're gonna be walking there. Uniform mistake. Oh, you're a teacher. Wow. You didn't even try today. What the hell is this? You haven't shaved that in about a week and a half. That is a terrible miss. You go out like this? Even does, yeah. Oh, boy. You were going to plan on him? Is it windy outside? No, sir. Then why not? Did your airline blow so far back? Huh? I don't know, sir. What's the tallest guy that could...
Parents always called me the dumb one, while my sister got a full ride to Harvard on her graduation day. Dad said she'd inherit everything, a new Tesla and a 13-letter mansion. I sat quietly in the night until a stranger handed me an envelope and whispered, "Now's the time." For 24 years, I was the family idiot, while my sister Harper was bringing home straight A's and violin trophies. I was scraping by with C's. My parents never missed an opportunity to remind me of the gap between us. "Why can't you be more like your sister?" My mom would sigh. "She's going to Harvard. You're going to end up flipping burgers." My dad would sneer at the dinner table. So I shut up. I stopped arguing. I moved out at 18, got a tiny apartment, and let them believe whatever they wanted to believe. I missed Thanksgivings. I missed Christmases. I told them I was busy working shifts. Fast forward to today. Harper's Harvard graduation party. They rented out the grand ballroom at a local country club. Ice sculptures, champagne towers, a string quartet, the whole 9 yards. I sat at a small dimly lit table in the far back, nursing a glass of club soda. I wore a plain, tailored black suit, unassuming, invisible, just the way I liked it. My dad tapped his glass with a spoon. The room fell dead silent as the guests turned their attention to the stage. "To Harper," he beamed, raising his champagne flute. "The absolute pride of his family. The brilliant mind that will carry our legacy forward." The crowd erupted in applause. Harper smirked, soaking it in like oil. "Celebrate her graduation," my dad continued, his voice moving over the microphone. "Your mother and I have surprised. The keys to a brand new Tesla Model S. More cheery, but that's not all." Dad grinned, puffing out his chest. "We are officially signing over the deed to the $13 million house in the state. It's yours, Harper." I watched my sister fake cry and hug the perfect family. Her smile. Said my father's legacy was built on a mountain of high-interest loans and desperate complaints. He was drowning. He had been for years. Just then, a man in a sharp gray suit slipped through the crowd and stood next to my table. It was David, my lead acquisitions attorney. He didn't smile. He just handed me a thick manila envelope and leaned down to my ear. "The ink is dry," David whispered. "Now's the time." I unclasped the envelope. Inside were the finalized deeds, the foreclosure transfers, and the debt assignment contracts. Over the last 6 years, I didn't flip burgers. I built a private equity firm from the ground up. I specialized in distressed assets, and my father's estate was the most distressed asset of all. I stood up. The wooden chair scraped loudly against the marble floor. The sound echoed, coming straight through the applause. People turned to look at me, prodigal failure. My dad frowned, clutching the microphone. "Do you have something to say, or are you just heading to the bathroom?" A few snickers dripped through. I rolled my eyes. I didn't raise my voice. I didn't look up. I walked calmly to the front of the room. I polished Oxford's clicking against the floorboard. I stopped rubbing from the front. I had a graduation gift for Harper, too. "What is this? Gift card?" He pulled out the ticket. I watched his eyes see over his face. He inspected the color completely drained from his face. His hands started to shake uncontrollably. The smug, booming patriarch withered into a terrifying, pale old man in the Spanish contract. How did you get these? How did you get these? The whole room was watching in stunned, breathless silence. "It's mine," I continued, looking at the coffee and looking in the eyes. "The bank was going to close on Tuesday. You just on 3 different commercials. And I wanted to call. You said yes. Coffee machine, it stuck her against the floor. "I own the coastal estate," I said, turning to my sister. "I own the cars. I own the holding company." Harper stared at me, her mouth hanging open. "You're lying. You're just..." "Tell him what." I gave her a small, pitying smile. "You got a full ride to Harvard, Harper. You still don't know how to read a balance sheet." I buttoned my suit jacket and looked back at my father, who was staring at the floor, completely defeated. "You have 30 days to vacate Harvard," I told her softly. "I'm tearing it down." I didn't wait for a response. I turned around and walked out of the excited room, leaving the perfect family standing in the wreckage of their own ego. Parents always talk about his own, while my sister's, "What is the worst pickup line you've ever heard?" I met a girl named Della at my friend's backyard cookout last weekend. We ended up talking for almost the entire evening. She was hot, quick to laugh, and honestly just easy to be around in a way that made 2 hours feel like 20 minutes. At some point, the conversation drifted toward dating, the usual stuff, worst dates, red flags, and she mentioned there was one rule she wished more guys knew about. Naturally, I got curious, so I asked her what it was. She smiled, took a sip of the drink, and said, "It's called the grandmother rule." I told her I had never heard of the grandmother rule in my life. She laughed and explained to me like she was letting me into a secret. The rule was simple. Before a guy says anything to a woman, any compliment, any comment, any little line he thinks it's new, he should pause for 1 second and imagine saying that exact same sentence, word for word, to his own grandmother. If picturing it makes you cringe even a little, you keep your mouth shut. If your grandmother would smile and pat your cheek, then it's probably fine to say. The more she explained it, the more it genuinely clicked for me. She gave examples. She said half the lines guys use would sound completely deranged if you imagine saying them to a Tweedle woman making shit. Hey, gorgeous. That dress is doing incredible shit. Try saying that to your grandmother. You can't. Your soul won't let you. But something like, I really enjoyed talking with you tonight. That one passes. Because you could say it to your grandmother, you wouldn't know it. It was basically a built-in filter for not being a creep, and I was impressed. It sounded like one of the smartest, most useful social tools I had ever heard in my life. Nodding, the man who handed with it. I know, it's a stupid power. I meant, I really can't believe it was good. Just sit there for a moment, turning it over in the saying, running the grandmother simulation and here is where I made my fatal error. I got confident. I felt like I finally understood the system. And understanding a system makes a man reckless. I decided to test it a lot right there. And immediately, you could watch your possibly go wrong when you thought the wheel was correctly. She noticed the shift and waited. This little curious smile on her face, like she could tell I was about to say something. You know what? After hearing your rule, I actually thought of something I've been wanting to say on the bigger. She leaned in slightly, her heart was I actually ran and pictured my grandmother. He should listen to words, and somehow, probably, my brain returned to green light. To this day, I do not know what was wrong. I cleared my throat and said, Ella, to be honest with you, you have the most beautiful eyes I've ever seen. You could probably stare into them forever. You could have been totally right. With the grandmother rule of flying, I was cute and cheap accents, but my mouth and one person in contact did not move. Before I could stop it, it kept going. And it actually also, the body is absolutely unreal. But I've been trying not to stare at it for 2 hours. The words left me. This isn't the word. The grandmother was saying. The change in her face was instant. Like a light switching off. The warmth just drained right out of it. She stood up, looked at me with an expression somewhere between disgust and genuine disappointment, and said, you have to literally have. Then she poured the rest of her drink out of the glass. She turned around and walked back inside to her friends without another word. I sat there alone at a plastic table in my buddy's office, replaying the exact moment my own brain betrayed me. So no, I don't think the grandmother rule works. Or maybe it works perfectly. And the problem is that some of us should not be trusted to imagine our own grandmothers. What is the word?
Which one though? He said he was gonna text us, never text us.
He said he was gonna come back.
That's actually beige.
A little bit of water translates to, so we're just going to do like a third of the tin. Right, figure that's okay.
Cream cheese.
Cream cheese. Hey, that's the same. Thanks. Back to the recipe, please.
Full packet. There's taco seasoning.
Taco.
A bit of seasoning.
Who is this?
Cream seasoning's the name I actually know.
This is Director Fagan. Send a ranger to my position.
Two again. Still one of one. Mixing. Continue around here. Like around the first. Really good at recipe. Help me figure out the subject. That's not what the thing is.
Cheese it.
Guys, we are going to end this film. Give me the yacht right now. No. I mean, no. I submitted. Exactly. You done had it for a minute. Exactly. Oh, but I don't want you to snatch it. Hey, stop listening. And give me the yard back. No, move. I would have handed to you politely.
Then I said to clean
Give
your
me the yard back.
Huh?
No. Not right now. Give me the yard.
Yeah, see, this is
You're pissing me off. Just tell me no.
So when the
Give me
teacher,
the yard. No,
when the
you're
teacher is telling you,
get the fuck
do
back.
something you need to do.
You're in my face. You decided to kill me over the yard. You just pushed me. And you're still touching me. No, I'm not. I'm on my bed. You're in my space. You came over to me. But I'm asking for somebody to take off of my bed. Yes, you did. I'm off your bed because it wasn't on mine, but.
When I tell you this is some bullshit, this is some bullshit.
Sit right here. Make your eyes at me. Sit down. Yes, you can. Where are you going?
After I just gave it to you politely.
Where are you going?
Listen with me, bro. Shut up. Oh, shut up. Oh, somebody's mad that they got their hand hit. I didn't get that.
When I say to clean,
That doesn't happen.
it's funny and clean. Yeah, see, it's the same stuff. It's not that. It's not. So the teacher is telling you, when the teacher is telling you, it's something you do. And then, okay. So that was one thing. You all said,
What did I say? What did I say? Where did you come on? I'm going to go fuck that. You get something. You ready? Come on.
Yo.
next time you don't clean your room, yeah, see, it's the same stuff. It's not changed. It's not changed.
I don't know what you just said, but
When the teacher's telling you to do something,
nobody.
get there, I don't care.
When my wife called me on date night and said, "Don't worry about me, just go enjoy the game with your friends," I hung up and called the police. Because my wife would never say that. Not on a Friday, not on our date night, not in that flat, careful voice. The dispatcher actually chuckled. "Sir, most men would be thrilled with a night off. What's the emergency?" "My wife is in danger," I said sharply. "She would never tell me to go hang with my friends tonight. Something is wrong. I live in a rough part of town, and I knew from experience that if you don't say the magic words, they take their time. So I didn't wait. I hit 90 the whole way home. When I pulled up, there was a black van out front I didn't recognize. If she was in danger, kicking in the front door would only make it worse. So I went around the side to the window of my home office and eased it open as quietly as I could. I climbed in and held my breath, listening. I heard the tier of duct tape off a roll.
What?
No voices I didn't know. I grabbed the heaviest thing within reach, a metal dumbbell from the corner, and crept into the hallway, gripping it, heart hammering. As I neared the living room, I heard my wife's terrified voice. "I don't know what my husband did to you, but please, whatever it is, don't take it out on me. That's not cold. Whatever this was." was, it was about me. What had I done to anyone? Then a second voice, almost gentle. It's not your fault. You're just leverage.
Nah,
Bad
when you
timing.
gonna
Once he
come see
pays,
me
this is over. That voice snagged something in my memory. Familiar, from a long time ago,
again?
but I couldn't place it. I peeked around the corner. Two men in ski masks, tying my wife to a kitchen chair. She was unharmed, just frightened. One of them was setting up a phone on a small tripod, and I understood. They wanted a video to send me, a ransom demand. They both had guns. I saw red, but I also had one advantage. They didn't know I was there. I waited until the one nearest me crouched to adjust the tripod, his back fully to me, and his gun set down on the coffee table beside him. Then I moved. I swung the dumbbell, not to kill, just hard enough across the shoulder and arm to drop him and knock the wind out of him. And I kicked his gun spinning under the couch before he could recover. The second man spun and fired. I dove sideways and felt something burn across my ribs, but the adrenaline swallowed the pain before he could aim again. I drove into
Or 3 o'clock.
His gun clatters loose. We grappled. I'm no fighter, but I had range and a wife tied to a chair 4 feet away. And that turned out to be enough to pin him and hold him down, shouting for my wife to stay still. That's when the front door finally banged open. The police, they didn't like. But there, they took both men down, cuffed, alive. One of the officers pressed a towel to my side, where the graze had bled through my shirt more than I realized. I reached over and pulled the mask off the man I pinned, and my stomach dropped. Arthur, the guy I'd grown up with, hadn't seen him since we were kids. Why? Was all I could get out. He wouldn't answer. But the detectives pieced it together later. Arthur and his partner ran a small ransom operation, targeting people, grabbing a spouse, forcing a quick payout before anyone could react. He picked me, it turned out, because of some grudge he'd nursed since middle school. Some humiliation I barely remembered and he'd never let go of. 20 years he'd carried it, until it curdled into this. I woke up in the hospital the next day. The graze had needed stitches, but nothing worse. The doctor said a couple inches over, and it'd have been a very different story. My wife was in the chair beside my bed, unhurt, holding my hand so tight it ached. Arthur and his partner are both facing long sentences, kidnapping, extortion, attempted armed robbery. Neither of them is walking free for a very long time. The thing I keep turning over isn't the fight, it's that flat, wrong voice on the phone. Go hang with your friends. And how close they came to shrugging and doing exactly that. My wife, tied to that chair, had risked everything to say the one sentence she knew would make me realize something was wrong. She trusted that I'd know her well enough to hear it. I almost didn't, but I did. We don't skip date night anymore, and I never, ever ignore that voice again. When my wife called me on date night, how did your name cause you to nearly lose your life? I was just chilling in class, and the teacher said we were getting a cool, whatever.
Vacation
looking like the exact stereotype of any tough guy you'd see in a movie. Sagging pants, black Air Forces, dreads, the whole package. But then he introduced himself and said his name. It's my name. Identical first name, last name, everything. I actually thought it was funny at first. I think it probably confused the teacher and switched me or something. But the kid, he wasn't doing any work.
The booty. He did the booty.
This was professional level disengagement. Then I caught him in the bathroom one day. He was selling weed. I said, hold on,
This shit out of me.
I walked into pee and walked into a whole dispensary. Another time I saw him beating up some
He
random
said
kid
he
who
did this
said,
to
"Whoa."
awful.
Like the kind of kid who says bless you when you sneeze. And then I saw his Instagram story. He was waving guns around like it was nothing. Just casually flexing firearms like they were new Jordans. I realized this kid was an actual gangster and I wanted nothing to do with it. I stayed out of his way completely.
The eating part,
But one day I
the
scrolled
eating
and
part and the fucking part.
crazy about other people saying he'd beat them up at work. He was beefing with actual gangsters at our school. I swiped off and didn't
The
think anything.
eating part, the eating part and the fucking part. Yeah.
I look up and there's like 30 kids. They said I was the one talking smack online and I needed to back it up. A 1VS30. What? I tried explaining it wasn't me. It was the other kid with my name, but they weren't buying it. One of them goes, stop lying. You know it's you. I'm like, I swear it's not me. There's another kid with the same name. They started I could see my entire life flashing before my eyes. All the unfinished homework, all the TikToks I've ever posted, everything. Then right before anything happens, the other kid walks in wearing the exact same ski mask from the line. They all turned, looked at me, and he bolted. All 30 of them chased after me. Instead, I just sat there on the floor, staring at the ceiling, questioning every decision. I got home that day and legally changed my name. How did you? My girlfriend posted, don't let your boyfriend stop you from finding you. Finding him. Then I changed my
Do a trial run. Let's test this.
After 4 years together, living in my apartment, this is what she puts out for everyone to see. I didn't even think. I commented, good luck finding him. Changed my relationship status to single and tagged her mom, dad, and sister. Her post disappeared in minutes. My phone exploded. When I got home, Jenna was standing in the living room, face puffy from crying. You humiliated. You did that yourself. What was I supposed to think? That you were window shopping for my replacement car?
My shit,
it was just a quote. You told the world I was a placeholder. I want you out by the end of the month for tears.
Even if we out in public, no coverage, no nothing.
The next few days were hell. She blasted music until 2 a.m. Had loud friends over constantly. One night I came home to find some guy named Todd on my couch drinking my beer, feet on my coffee table. Get him out. She screamed it was her apartment too. Big mistake.
I knew you was gonna say that.
than 3 consecutive nights.
So you wasn't hearing me say what I was saying this whole time.
3 days to remedy or vacate. That
Hell
night,
no.
Todd over again. I showed Jenna the
I
email.
know.
He leaves in 5 minutes, or we both get evicted. The color drained from her face. Todd ran out. Then she sent me a list claiming my 65-inch TV, my custom PC, the surround sound, the espresso machine. We can split things fairly. Everything was mine. I found every receipt.
I said
TV, every
even
video
in
component, Williams
public
Sonoma
without
receipt, plus girl
public.
text. Movie night is so much better on your insane new TV. Thanks for letting me use it. While she was out, my
I
friend Dave
said
came over with his truck. 30 minutes.
that's
Everything
not gonna
valuable loaded
happen.
and gone. I emailed her with the receipts. You're mistaken about ownership. I've moved these items to storage. They'll be returned after you complete it. She called immediately. I let it ring.
That's
I
what-
flooded in. Where is my TV? I'm calling the cops. I replied once. The police will be interested in the receipts. Screenshots of our arguments. My response is only no context. Normal disagreements framed as emotional abuse. Some people bought it. Friends started icing me out. I gathered every
Wow,
conversation
when you was
dropped, put them
gripping
side
on
by
their
side.
back.
I also had audio I'd recorded during one of her tirades. She was screaming, calling me names, threatening to destroy me. I emailed everything to her father, Alan. Jenna has been sharing the
You said when you was beating it up, you said when you was beating it up and
plus
nutting
audio.
in them
I am asking
hoes,
you to take sides just to see the truth. 2 hours later, this is Alan. I've seen everything. I am dealing
and
with this.
nutting
I am
in them
very sorry.
hoes.
20 minutes later, Jenna left the group chat. Her sister posted, everyone, please drop this. It's over. 3 days later, all her things were gone. The key was on the counter with a note. I hate you. Most beautiful thing I'd ever read. 6 months later, Dave sent me a screenshot. Jenna flashing a gaudy engagement ring with Todd. Caption, sometimes you have to leave the boy behind to find the husband of your dreams.
Sound
He was
like my
throwing a
dad.
massive engagement party at the Grove downtown.
Sound like my
Every
dad.
club,
I don't
menu,
want to be
floral,
cool with nobody
cocktails.
like that.
Todd worked a dead-end sales job with 2 roommates. Jenna
That
lived
shit
paycheck
not
to
cool
paycheck.
to me.
Who was paying? I checked the Grove's website. Remaining balance due 14 business days before event. Any outstanding balance must be settled before conclusion or event will be canceled. The party was 3 weeks
That's
away.
what I'm
The night
about
of the
to
party,
know.
30 minutes after it started, I sent an anonymous email to the event manager.
No.
Just wanted to ensure you secured final payment. The
No.
bride's fee has a history of financial instability and expecting partners to cover expenses. I attached the
It's
original
it's a difference from
screenshot.
it's a difference from
The
love
manager had asked Todd to confirm payment.
and
Todd said he thought
husband.
Jenna's father was covering it. The manager found Jenna, asked for the $5,000 balance. Jenna admitted she thought Todd had paid it. Everything unraveled in front of her. Todd found her dad, who confirmed he'd only given a couple thousand as a gift. Todd realized he'd been played. Voices were raised. The manager closed the bar,
He
stopped
said,
the kitchen, pay now or
I'm gonna tell you. He said, I'm gonna tell you. I'm sorry. You can see my fucking face. Nigga fucking saying dumb fucking nigga. Yes, you can see my fucking face. My face is right fucking here. You see my motherfucking lips moving. This is my motherfucking face.
I'm next to the table. Take him next to the table.
What's up? Okay.
So I need to tell you something, right?
Yeah. I'm not giving you a chance to speak next time. I'm actually not giving you a chance to speak. You made me a step stool. You don't even can reach the
Shit.
Just leave it, Siri.
I changed color, but my name is.
I gotta hit this.
I guess I'm a fucking
Let me
chameleon.
do it to your level. You know,
I should have
I
gone
can't. I can't have a shot.
Jackson,
I can't.
I wouldn't.
Shots fell short.
I'm down right now. This is insane.
I'll go on your chest, a short man.
Keep coming up short. Oh my goodness.
Oh, Jesus.
It's
My
not funny,
I
bro.
had something to tell you.
Hello, JP.
What is that?
You have time.
Oh, damn.
He texted me a photo of his breakfast. That was our code for come find me. When we were little, our dad was a long-haul trucker who'd seen things on the road that changed him. He sat us down one summer and made us build a system. Not codes, exactly. Triggers. A photo of breakfast meant I need help, but I can't say it. A voicemail about car trouble meant I'm being watched. A text asking about mom's garden meant bring weapons. And if we ever posted a specific song on social media, a hymn called Abide With Me, it meant assume I'm already dead and send everything to the police. We thought he was paranoid. We thought the road had made him strange. My brother Callum and I would joke about it on long drives. Testing each other, laughing. Dad would get quiet when we laughed. He never explained why he built the system. He just said one day you'll be glad you have it. Callum moved to Reno 3 years ago for a woman named Dinah. I didn't like her. Something behind her eyes was flat. But Callum was in love, and I kept my mouth shut because that's what you do. Over the months, he called less. Moved further from town, changed his number twice. I told myself he was just settling into a new life. Then on a Tuesday morning at 6:14 a.m., I got a photo from an unknown number. Scrambled eggs on a paper plate. No message, no context, just the photo. My hands went cold because I recognized the plate. It was the kind you get at a dollar store in bulk. And scrambled eggs were the first meal our dad ever taught us to make. It was Callum. I called him back. No answer. I called again. Nothing. I texted, hey, nice breakfast. You cooking for Tina? Trying to keep keep it casual in case someone else had his phone. 3 minutes later, he replied, yeah, she's got me on a health kick, haha. And a second text right after. Hey, have you talked to Mom about her garden lately? Bring weapons. I sat in my kitchen staring at my phone and I couldn't breathe. I drove 4 hours to Reno with Dad's old .45 and a lockbox in my trunk and a knot in my stomach that wouldn't loosen. I had Callum's last known address from a birthday card he'd sent 8 months ago. When I pulled up, the house looked normal. Small, beige, quiet street. But every curtain was closed at noon and there was a camera mounted above the front door that looked like it cost more than the house. I knocked. Dina opened the door with a smile that didn't reach her eyes and said Callum was at work. I said I'd wait. She said he'd be late. I said I had nowhere to be. She let me in, and the house was clean in a way that felt wrong, like a model home. No personal items, no photos, no shoes by the door. The couch had no indentation. Nobody lived in this living room. I used the bathroom and checked every room on the way. The bedroom door had a deadbolt on the outside. I want you to read that again. A deadbolt on the outside of a bedroom door. I went back to the living room and made small talk with Dina for 2 hours while my blood pounded in my ears. At 4:30, a truck pulled into the driveway. Callum walked in, and when he saw me, his face did something I'll never forget. It crumpled for half a second and then went blank. He said, what are you doing here? I said, came to see my brother. Is that a crime? He said, no, and sat down across from me. He'd lost maybe 30 pounds. His wrists were thin. There was a mark on his neck he kept touching. Dina watched us the entire time from the kitchen doorway with her arms crossed. Never once looked at her phone. Never once left us alone. I said, hey Cal, you still making Dad's scrambled eggs? He looked at me and I saw it. A flicker. He said, every morning. I said, we should go get groceries. I'll drive. Dina said, I can go. Callum said, no, I want to go with my brother. Something passed between them. She didn't move for a long moment, and then she said, fine. We got in my car. I pulled out of the driveway. At the end of the block, I said, Cal, are you okay? He didn't answer. I said, I got your breakfast photo. He put his hands over his face and started shaking. He said, she won't let me leave. She took my ID. She took my money. She put something in my food once when I tried to leave, and I woke up 2 days later with that lock on the door. I didn't know if anyone would come. I drove straight to the police station. He didn't even want to go back for his clothes. The investigation found she'd done this before. 2 other men. One was still missing. Callum stayed with me for 5 months. Didn't sleep through the night for 3 of them. He's doing better now. He's got an apartment and a dog named Biscuit, and he calls me every Sunday. Last week, he sent me a photo of his breakfast. Just eggs and toast. I panicked for a second and called him immediately. He laughed and said, relax, I just thought they looked good. Then he got quiet and said, thank you for remembering. Dad died in 2019. I never thought his system was anything but paranoia. He never told us what he saw on those long hauls. I think now I...
Oh. She got
My brother texted me a photo of his breakfast. That was our code for come find me. When we were little, our dad was a long-haul trucker who'd seen things on the road that changed him. He sat us down one summer and made us build the system. Not codes, exactly. Triggers. A photo of breakfast meant I need help, but I can't say it. A voicemail about car trouble meant I'm being watched. A text asking about Mom's garden meant bring weapons. And if we ever posted a specific song on social media, a hymn called Abide With Me, it meant assume I'm already dead and send everything to the police. We thought he was paranoid. We thought the roads made him strange. My brother Callum and I would joke about it on long drives, testing each other, laughing. Dad would get quiet when we laughed. He never explained why he built the system. He just said one day you'll be glad you have it. Callum moved to Reno 3 years ago for a woman named Dinah.
House and driving is down here today. We are sponsored by WB Games. I am drinking coffee and snack drinks before water.
Mark, this table is for family. You can find a spot outside. My cousin laughed as the others grinned. The waiter dropped a $3,000 bill in front of me. I took a sip of my coffee and chuckled. They had no idea who was covering it tonight. I've always been the invisible one in my family. The quiet guy who showed up to the holidays, smiled politely, and absorbed the backhanded compliments without making a scene. Meanwhile, my cousin Leo was the undisputed golden boy. He worked in mid-level car sales, but carried himself like he was the CEO of a Fortune 500 company. So, when my aunt insisted on a massive family dinner at the most exclusive, expensive steakhouse in the city, I already knew exactly how the night would play out. What they didn't know was that I had just finalized the sale of my tech startup for mid-8 figures. I didn't buy a flashy car or a mansion. I just kept wearing my same plain black t-shirts and jeans. In fact, I was just actually booked this dinner. I secretly put my card on file with the restaurant to cover the entire night. I wanted to do something generous. I wanted to finally bridge the gap and show them I was doing okay. I arrived 10 minutes late because of city traffic. When I walked into the private dining room, all 15 seats at the grand mahogany table were already taken. Leo had brought 3 of his loud, obnoxious friends who weren't even family. I stood there for a moment, waiting for someone to slide over or ask the waiter for an extra chair. Instead, Leo leaned back, swirling a glass of very expensive vintage Pinot Noir. He looked me up and down with absolute disdain. Mark, this table is for family. You can find a spot outside. My cousin laughed as the others grinned. My own aunt just looked out, pretending to study the gold leaf menu. No one defended me. No one asked a friend to move. The old me would have been crushed. I would have argued or walked out in a rage. The new me just felt a profound, absolute sense of clarity. No problem, I said calmly. Enjoy your dinner. I walked out to the patio. It was quiet, chilly, and separated from the main dining room by a wall of floor-to-ceiling soundproof glass. I took a small metal 2-top table entirely by myself. It gave me a perfect, uninterrupted view of it. I ordered a simple black coffee. For the next 2 hours, I sat in the shadows and watched the sky unfold. Things I slowly watched. I saw the waiters bringing out massive, tiered seafood towers stacked with lobsters and one oyster. I watched Leo aggressively point at the reserve wine list, ordering bottle after bottle. They feasted on dry-aged tomahawk steaks, truffle sides, and endless rounds of soft-shell skewers. They were eating like royalty, assuming that because my aunt had sent the invites, the wealthy new husband was putting himself, or maybe they thought Leo was finally flexing his supposed wealth over his friends. Eventually, the fakes were cleared. The arrogant laughter decided to settle down as they waited to leave. Because my name was on the reservation, the head waiter walked out to the patio. He dropped a thick black leather folder on my tiny table. The bill for the main party instructions, he said quietly. I opened it. $34.58. The waiter dropped a $3,000 bill in front of me. I took a sip of my coffee and chuckled. They had no idea who was covering it tonight. And honestly, neither did they. I saw my wallet, placed a crisp $20 bill on the table to cover my coffee, and looked at the waiter. I'm actually not with them, I said, my voice completely level. Cancel the card I put on file. The slip their bill evenly among the adults at the table. The waiter looked through the glass and blew him up with a sharp, understanding nod. Understood, sir. I stood up, tipped my jacket, and stayed just long enough to watch the delivery. Through the glass, I saw the restaurant manager approach the main table with a pretty savage checkers. He began handing them onto Leo, onto his friends. I watched Leo's smug, arrogant smile instantly.
What'd you say?
He had a piece of paper in his hands like it was written in an alien language. His face completely drained the color. He started
Hold on, let
aggressively
me
pointing
put
at
on
his
my
friend, shaking his head and hands. My
headphones.
aunt was terrified. Ticking frantically
So
through
that I
the
can hear
designers
it
while her
better.
husband started yelling at the waiter. The chaotic, boastful energy of the room completely
And I'm gonna
collapsed his
take
daughter.
it
The moment
home
of desperation, they
with
were trapped in a
me.
cage of their own gluttony, and the bill had just come due. Leo looked up frantically, scanning the
I
restaurant
got
for an
money
exchange.
in the
His hands finally found
bag.
money through the patio glass. I didn't gloat. I didn't flip him off or laugh. I just gave him a slow, incredibly calm nod. Then I turned my back, walked out into the cool night air, and left them to
Alright,
pay for
let's
their own
take it.
disrespect. Mark, this table is for family. You can find a spot outside. My cousin laughed as the others grinned. The waiter. I just drove my drunk girlfriend home and I'm furious, not at her, at her so-called friends. My girlfriend works as an ER nurse. Yesterday she came over to meet my parents for the first time. We stayed up until 4 a.m. talking because she was nervous about making a good impression. She left my place at 6 a.m. to go straight to her 7 a.m. shift. She texted me around 2 p.m. I'm so tired I could cry. 5 more hours. I told her to skip the club tonight. She said she couldn't because her friend already paid for her ticket, $60. Said she'd feel guilty wasting her money. I offered to Venmo her friend the $60. She said that would make it weird. Her shift ended at 11 p.m. 12-hour shift, no break. She hadn't eaten anything except the toast and eggs I made her at 5:30 a.m. that morning. I suggested grabbing food before the club. She said there wasn't time because the guest DJ started at midnight and her friends were already asking where she was. 11:47 p.m. Finally clocked out. My feet are killing me. Saw 3 trauma cases today. 11:53 p.m. Taking the bus now. Should be there by 12:15. I asked if she wanted me to pick her up. She said no. The club was in the opposite direction from my place and she didn't want me to drive 40 minutes out of my way. 12:18 p.m. Walking to the club. It's like 15 minutes from the bus stop. My heels are killing me. 12:23 a.m. Just got here. I'm literally the last one, LOL. 12:26 a.m. They bought me 3 tequila shots to catch up with everyone, making me do them back to back. I called her immediately. She answered, but I could barely hear her over the music. Are you okay? Did you eat anything? What? She yelled. Food. Did you eat? No, I'll grab something later. She hung up. 12:41 a.m. Feeling really dizzy. Everything is spinning. I called again. Straight to voicemail. I texted, go sit down somewhere. Drink water, please. 12:52 a.m. 3 dots appeared. Disappeared. Appeared again. 12:58 a.m. I can't find my friends. Where did they go? 1:03 a.m. I think I'm gonna throw up. 1:06 a.m. Threw up in the bathroom. Some girl is yelling at me. 1:08 a.m. I can't breathe in there. The music is too loud. Going outside for air. I called. No answer. Called again. Nothing. 1:12 a.m. Can you come get me? I'm outside. I grabbed my keys. I was in pajama pants and a t-shirt. Didn't even put on real shoes. Just slipped on slides. The drive felt like an hour even though it was only 20 minutes. I kept imagining her alone outside. Drunk, sick, barely able to stand. In shorts, left dress. At 1 a.m. on Saturday night in downtown. When I pulled up to the club, I saw a line of people waiting to get in. Bouncers everywhere. Music sounding so loud I could feel it in my chest. Then I saw her sitting on a curb about 30 feet from the entrance. Mascara streaking down her face, shivering even though it was 68 degrees with arms wrapped around her chest. I parked to leave her and ran over. She looked at me and she blocked me completely unfocused on it. And her bottom lip started trembling. Then so was I. She was screaming out. Are you okay? Can you stand? She nodded. But when I woke her up, she said it was hard. I told her I felt sick, she said as we walked slowly to the car. She said I just needed to dance the car. She was gone. I opened the passenger door and saw her sit down. She was moving so slowly. I felt her seatbelt and she just stared straight at me. I told him I threw up. She continued, her voice flat. I told him I couldn't breathe. I asked if someone could come outside with me for just a few minutes. What did they say? One of them laughed and said, don't be so dramatic. Then they all went back to dancing. I walked around to the driver's side, looked back at the club entrance, ass thumping, people laughing and stumbling around. Somewhere inside that building were her 10 so-called best friends. Not one came outside. I started the car, her phone lit up on her group chat notification. I glanced at the screen. OMG, where'd he go? It's about instant. I spelled the message from her. She does this every time. I was going to go literally such an attention seeker. My girlfriend was passed out in the passenger seat, head against the window, breathing shallow, still shivering. I took my phone out and photographed her screen every single day. When I got her back to her apartment, I helped her inside, got her a glass of water and apple, changed her into pajamas, made sure she was lying on her side. Her phone kept buzzing on the nightstand. I turned it face down and sat with her until her breathing came down. This morning she woke up confused, looked at me sitting in the chair next to the wall. What happened? I handed her my phone, showed her the screenshots. She stared at them for a long time. Her face went from confused to terror, to something I'd never seen before. She picked up the phone, opened the picture, typed started watching numbers, called home. I asked if she was okay. She looked at me and said, you drove 20 minutes in your pajamas at 1 a.m. to make sure I was safe. They couldn't walk 20 feet.
My boyfriend told me I was imagining breaking up with him. He almost had me fooled. The first time I broke up with Jackson, he cried, but said he understood and left that night. Then I woke up to him making eggs in my kitchen. I stared at him and asked what he was doing there, and he looked confused and said, did you have a bad dream? I checked my phone, and the text I sent to my sister telling her about the breakup was false. Jackson kept saying I must have break up with him. He said, maybe you should take eggs for the breakup helped him very upset. Again, I texted Jackson that we nothing changed. She said, please, you had another dream you broke up. That's twice this week now. I'm really getting concerned about you. I started crying. I think these text dreams mean something serious. Maybe you need to talk to him. I changed my locks on Friday to Jackson said her. That night I broke up with him and he left me guilty. The new locks are somehow back to me. Can you please? Changed the locks. Water bottle tasted slightly bitter, but Jackson said that was just a new filter. I broke up with him Sunday night, then Monday night, then Tuesday night. Every single morning he was back. Every time my phone was wiped clean. Every time he looked at me with concern and said I was having stress dreams. Finally, I called my best friend sobbing. I told her everything. She was quiet for a long time, then said, listen, I'm worried about you. Jackson called me last week and said you've been having really intense episodes. He said you've been making up scenarios that aren't true. I said, when did he call you? She said, like 5 days ago. He's really concerned. He thinks you might need medication or something. He'd been calling everyone I knew and told them all all I was losing my mind. Nobody would believe me, even if I could prove the breakups were real. I felt completely trapped and crazy. Then I had an idea. If I couldn't prove the breakups were happening, maybe I could at least prove something was wrong with Jackson. I didn't know what exactly, but I needed witnesses to see whatever he was doing. I invited Jackson and 8 of our mutual friends over for dinner on Saturday. I told everyone I wanted to make a special announcement about our relationship. Jackson seemed thrilled. I asked my sister to come early and hide in my bedroom with her phone ready to record. I told her, I don't know what's going to happen, but something is wrong and I need you to film everything. I made Jackson's favorite meal. I filled my water bottle from the Brita filter like I did every night. I left it on the counter while I cooked. Halfway through dinner, I stood up and said, I have something important to tell everyone. Jackson and I are breaking up. Jackson immediately said, honey, not this again. You're having one of your episodes. Our friends shifted uncomfortably in their seats. What I didn't expect was my sister to burst out of the bedroom holding my water bottle and her phone. Her hands were shaking. She said, I just watched you put something in her drink. I have it on video. The table went silent. She held up her phone and pressed play. Everyone watched Jackson look around to make sure nobody was watching. Pull a pill bottle from his pocket, crush something up, and drop it into my water bottle. The room was so quiet I could hear people breathing. That's when everything clicked into place. The constant exhaustion, the memory gaps, the foggy confusion. He'd been slipping me sleeping pills every night so I'd be too knocked out to remember breaking up with him. Then he let himself back in while I was unconscious, move his stuff back, and erase all the evidence from my phone. I looked at Jackson and said, you've been doing this every single night, haven't you? That's why I can never remember anything. That's why everyone thinks I'm crazy. Jackson's face went white. He said, this is a setup. She's trying to frame me because she's unstable. But my best friend stood up and said, we all just watched you do it with our own eyes. What the hell is wrong with you? Jackson tried to leave, but my neighbor blocked the door. 3 people were already calling the police. Jackson was arrested that night for assault, and I got an emergency restraining order. I sleep fine now that I know I was never crazy, just being poisoned.
So I made the mistake of loading into a game with a gold 0 point sprite. No, it'll be fine. I got this. I hid in the bus so no one would follow me, but why is no one going to the bus? Oh, God! What? What? Oh, no. Oh, yeah. No, please stop shooting me. No. It's so respect. Please. It clearly wasn't working, so I tried to do it. No. Oh, man. Please. Please. No. Please. Oh my gosh. Oh my god. Oh my god. Oh shit. No. Oh my gosh, I'm down. Wait, that was like a gold sprite. No. No. After escaping, I ran into the storm to heal, but as soon as I rotated, the chase was back in full effect. Oh no. No. No.
Sky, come here.
No. Please. No. So I made the 007 first, like this guy for a year.
My friends always expected me to go there. Watching me realize I wasn't going to was priceless. For 3 years, I paid every single check that my friends would send me. And I watched full-grown adults stare at a bill for 40 minutes waiting for me to reach for it. It started innocently enough. Back when I got my first real job after college, I made more than most of my friends. So when the check came, I just gripped it. It felt good to treat people I cared about. They'd say thanks, promised to get the next one, and that was that. Except the next one never came. Somewhere along the line, it stopped being generosity and became an expectation. Heather would order the most expensive entree across landscape prices. Tina would get 2 appetizers to the table that only she ate. Renee would add drinks and dessert like the menu had no numbers. And Jeff would order this wall. Started inviting her boyfriend without asking, knowing I'd cover him too. I did the next one. Over 3 years of monthly dinners, I spent over $11,000 a week on exposed, it's easily earned for half a year. The part that really stung was what happened 6 months ago. I left my job during layoffs, told the group I needed to cut back on spending until I found something new. Heather's response was to suggest we go somewhere cheaper so I could still afford to treat everyone. Not once did any of them offer to cover me. Not once did anyone say, let us get this one. They just picked a less expensive restaurant and kept ordering like nothing changed. I found a new job 2 months later, better pay, better hours, didn't tell them about the raise, started paying attention to how they talked about me when they thought I wasn't listening. Got Tina telling someone at a party that I was obsessed with paying for everything, and it was kind of sad, like she's buying friendship. Heather once joked that I was their sponsor. Jackie called me the wallet to her boyfriend right in front of me, then laughed like it was a term of endearment. That's when I decided to run an experiment. Last Friday, we met at our usual spot, a nice Italian place with cloth napkins and bread service. Everyone ordered exactly how they always did. Heather got the lobster ravioli. Tina ordered 2 appetizers and a cocktail. Renee added a bottle of wine for the table. Jackie brought her boyfriend again, and he ordered a steak. The bill came. The waiter set it in the center of the table. I kept talking to Renee about her sister's wedding like I hadn't noticed. Took a sip of my water, checked my phone casually. The black check holder sat there untouched. 5 minutes passed. Heather glanced at it and at me. I smiled and asked Tina about her new apartment. 10 minutes. Jackie shifted in her seat. Her boyfriend looked confused. Nobody moved. 15 minutes. We are by and asked if we needed anything else. Heather told me why. Strawberry, which for the check. It was just like Jackie whispered something to her, but he shrugged. Renee started picking up the leftover bread like she was waiting out a story. Their friendly girls spoke. We spoke this all morning. We looked at me, pulled out my phone, and finished. This is funny for me to see that the appetizers and cookies. Renee, why is funny for us? So there's this funny Jackie, you and your boyfriend together are maybe great. We have to explain this thing. It's just, we need to it's not friends. That much I spent on dinner for this house. You opened the wallet to your boyfriend's face. Oh, no, I'm not covering tonight. The waiter came back. Did we wanted beverage? I said, yes. And this is exactly what each person ordered. He nodded and walked away without blinking. 4 separate cards went down on that table. 4 women who never once offered to pay for me in 3 years suddenly had to pay for themselves. We haven't had a group dinner since. Heather unfollowed me on social media. Tina sent a long text about how I embarrassed everyone and she needed space. Jackie never responded to my last message. The funny thing is, I don't miss them. I miss who I thought they were. But those people never existed. The real ones just saw me as someone who would always pick up the check. Some friendships are only as deep as your wall.
My wife whispered a different name in her sleep, and it's someone we both know. 3 a.m. Dead silence. The kind of quiet where you can hear the refrigerator thinking. My wife Sarah rolls over next to me, and with a soft little smile on her face, she whispers one word into the dark. Daniel. My name is Marcus. I have been Marcus for 34 years. I was Marcus when she married me. I was Marcus at dinner 6 hours ago. And yet at 3 a.m., my wife is smiling in her sleep, whispering Daniel, like it's the most comforting word in the English language. And here's the detail that turns my blood to ice water. Daniel is my best friend. Daniel was in our house 6 hours ago. Daniel ate the pot roast. Daniel sat at my table, drank my beer, laughed at my jokes, and apparently left such an impression that my wife is now dreaming about him with a smile. I did not sleep. I lay there flat on my back like a corpse doing forensic accounting on my entire marriage. Every interaction they've ever had, replayed in 4K. The time Daniel helped her carry groceries. The time they laughed about a show I don't watch. The time she said Daniel was actually really funny. Is that a clue? Everything is a clue? By 5 a.m., I constructed an entire affair on groceries. 6 months more. I decided to be smooth and casual. Calm man with no suspicion whatsoever. I said, slept well after. She stretched and said, best sleep I've had in months. Months. Not good sleep, not fun. The best sleep in months occurred on the exact night she dream whispered another man. My brain took that word months and filed it into a folder, labeled evidence, and lit the folder on fire. So began my investigation. I became a detective in my own home. I started watching how Sarah acted around Daniel, which said I now knew she was the other day, which is a truly insane sentence when I say it out loud. I noticed she was really. So I ran a control scare. I told the same style of joke. Nothing. Not a courtesy joke. My own wife gave me the face to give a telemark. Daniel says, the traffic was crazy today, and he's giggling like he's a Netflix special. I say something genuinely clever, and I get the silence usually deserved for humor. I check her phone while she was in the shower. I'm not proud. I scroll through the shaking hands command does not want to find what he's looking for, but cannot stop it. Messages with Daniel, normal, but there's a deleted conversation. The thread existed, the name is there, but it's never white. A ghost conversation. Why would you delete an entire thread in the thread contains something was deleted? It did not occur to me that phones do go public. Nothing rational occurred to me with an experience. I invited Daniel over for dinner again. Yes, again. I invited the suspect back to the scene, but Sarah focused on the plot like a break. Daniel complimented Sarah. And Sarah, I saw it, touched her hair. She touched her hair. Besides, I read an article. I was sitting my court like a wife, watching my best friend and my wife exchange what I had decided were coded signals of forbidden. While they discussed, I believed I couldn't take it. Some men would insist that part of the time and not those men. I set my fork down at the dinner table and said, in a voice I intended to be casual, but which came out like a detective in a bad play. Funny thing, Sarah talks in her sleep now. I watched Daniel like a lie detective. Daniel did not react. Daniel kept chewing. He has the blank, innocent face of a man who has genuinely no idea he's on trial. But Sarah dropped her fork. It clattered onto the plate. Her face was like, said my broken brain. The guilt, the fork, her guilt. Daniel left. I turned to my wife. 2 years of marriage, and I finally said, Sarah, you whispered Daniel's name in your sleep. You dropped your fork just now. I need you to be honest. What is going on with you and Daniel? And my wife burst into tears. Here it comes. I thought, the confession. The end of everything. I braced. And through the tears, she said, do you know it's the name of my dog? I said, what? Daniel was my dog growing up. My golden retriever. I had him from when I was 6 until I was 19. He was my whole childhood.
Almost.
And it's been bringing all of it back. And I've been dreaming about Daniel, the dog, because I miss him, Marcus. I've been grieving in my sleep. She got up, grabbed a photo album, an actual physical photo album, and slammed it open to a picture of 6-year-old Sarah hugging a golden retriever. A caption in the child's handwriting. Me and Daniel, best friends forever. The name I've been losing my mind over for a week belonged to a dog that has been dead for 15 years. She dropped her fork at dinner because when I said, "You talk in your sleep now," she got embarrassed that I caught her sad dreaming about her dead child with pets. Guilt, grief. I had watched a grieving woman miss her golden retriever and constructed an entire affair with my best friend out.
Why would you dump trash out the window?
Why do you put the couch in your beer bottles by the house?
I get sleepy.
You get an allowance to keep your room clean, and that includes taking the trash outside. This clean, it's cold.
And then you react now?
You count the rain. I was in this closet.
Whoa. And what would you shoot organized? Is that what you
Today,
keeping your room clean and eating your broccoli are the two things supposed to be in an hour?
This is very, very bad.
That's the queen of the hive.
What are you doing? Mario? But she won't tell. I'm in the morning. Every night I get ready to tell my hair. The gym falls off next to you. You just never change your sheets. And I just change them every 7 years. That's the mattress case. See, I'm just used to it.
From now on, you don't do your chores, you don't get your allowance. 1 cent.
We'd like a moment to discuss.
What do you mean?
If we give in now, I've been lowering the expectations for years. I will not clean this up for me. We've discussed your offer.
Take it or leave it.
To leave it.
No, there's no leaving it. You have to take it.
You know you love us too much to stop giving us money.
You're not allowed. We made a mistake. It was called sure. You've been too soft.
Until we agree, start calling later around here. 4 years old.
You're gonna do the dishes, the laundry, keep everything clean, and you're gonna do it all for free.
We trusted you.
You've only been on strike 3 days, and it looks like putting something in the house and shook it like a snow globe.
No place to sit.
You guys are really okay with this mess?
Doesn't bother us, it doesn't bother you.
Oh, it doesn't bother us. You let it bother up. And it bothers it's so family, I can't take it anymore. It's gross in here. Why not?
And all of these times we never spoke. Sweet son of a bitch.
Why would you dump trash out the window?
She's cooking mac and cheese in a kettle. Siri, what? Turn off that kettle. Siri, what? Turn off that kettle. Before it's too late, Siri, what? Turn off that kettle.
Leave the kettle.
I don't want to go. I don't want to go. No, you're making me mac and cheese in a kettle.
You ate for dinner I made you though, right? You can dinner I made you.
Turn around. Turn around. Turn around. Lucy. 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 She's trying to hurt me. Kettle mac and cheese.
And you get some tenants?
Oh, no. She's cooking mac and cheese in a kettle. Siri, bud.
Can I help you?
Turn off that kettle.
I accidentally made my whole family think I was dating my best friend, and it was my grandma who exposed everything. I'm 23, and for the past year, my entire family has been completely convinced that my best friend Soren and I are secretly together. To be fair, I understand why. We've known each other since the 2nd grade. We text constantly, we grocery shop together, he comes to every family barbecue, and my little cousins call him Uncle Soren, even though we're not related. But here's the thing, we were just friends. At least that's what I kept telling everyone. Every family gathering turned into an interrogation. Are you two official yet? When's the wedding? Just admit it already. My mom had basically started planning our future. Soren thought the whole thing was hilarious. Every time someone asked if we were together, he'd swing an arm around me and say, "Sorry, she's out of my league," and I'd fire back. And he's way too annoying to date, and everyone would laugh and we'd move on. Or so I thought. Last month, my grandmother turned 80, and the whole family flew into Denver for a huge birthday party. Nearly 40 relatives showed up, aunts and uncles and cousins I hadn't seen in years. And of course, Soren was invited too, because at this point, he's basically family whether we like it or not. About halfway through the party, my grandmother stood up and tapped her glass. The whole room went quiet. She started thanking everyone for coming, the usual grandma speech, and then she smiled right at me and said, "And before I forget, I want to thank Soren for finally making my grandson so happy." The room absolutely erupted. People started cheering. My cousin actually yelled, "It's about time!" and nearly choked on my drink. "Grandma," I said, what are you talking about? She looked genuinely puzzled. You two are together. No, we're not. Now she looked even more confused. But you stay at each other's apartments all the time. My mother froze. My father froze. 40 relatives froze. I stared at Soren. Soren stared at me. And my grandmother kept going, listing evidence like a prosecutor. You spend every holiday together. You watch a movie every single Friday. You went in on matching Halloween costumes last year. Said all at once, out loud, in front of the entire family. It sounded genuinely damning. The room dissolved into chaos. My aunt looked emotional. My mom was beaming like she won something. My cousin already had his phone out looking up venues. I kept insisting we are not dating, and not one person believed me. And worst of all, Soren couldn't stop laughing. My aunt was already dabbing in half tears. Two of my cousins were quietly arguing over who'd be in the wedding party. Someone's little kid asked if this meant Uncle Soren was going to be my husband now, and the entire room answered yes, at the exact same time, while I was still standing there insisting none of it was real. I had never felt so thoroughly outnumbered by my own bloodless enemy. Like, finally, my dad pointed at him and said, if you're not dating my kid, then why are you grinning like that? And that's when everything changed. Because Soren suddenly stopped laughing. He looked at me, then he looked around at the family. Then he said the one thing I never in my life expected. Honestly, he said, I've been asking myself the same question. The entire room went silent, moving silent. I felt my face go hot. My mom looked like she might actually faint from joy. Soren rubbed the back of his neck and said, I think I've liked her for a really long time. I just never wanted to risk losing my best friend over it. And I swear my heart stopped, because the truth was, I felt exactly the same way. And I've been too scared to ever say it. Apparently, my grandmother had noticed before either of us did. Fast forward 6 months, and Soren and I are officially together. My family acts like they personally engineered the entire relationship. My mom introduces him as the son I finally got. My cousins will not let us forget the birthday party for as long as we live. And my grandmother tells absolutely everyone that she solved the mystery before the rest of us had to. Honestly, she's not wrong. Sometimes the whole world can see what's right in front of you long before you can. And in my case, all it took was an 80-year-old woman with zero filter and a microphone. I accidentally made my whole family think I was dating my best friend, and it was my grandma who exposed everything. I'm 23, and for the past year, my entire family has been completely convinced.
Temporary?
Okay.
Why forever?
The lifespan of a turtle.
They live pretty long, don't they?
They do. But is it forever long?
It's not forever long. Unless there is a all-powerful turtle deer.
TV turtle.
Okay, that's right here.
So it's close to forever.
Yeah, it's like, you've been living for a long time.
Yeah. Obviously, we're forever. And us loving apart is temporary. There's nothing.
Wait, what was that? Oh, you mean we're forever? Yeah, tiny Gymnosaurus.
New.
I mean, trout for an eye, very tall. We're kind of like dainty and feeble. Strong. So it's gotta be me. It has to be absolutely ginormous.
There.
Yeah. Ooh. Good point. Maybe like right here. You know this middle of the floor? Like, no. So why are you calling me ginormous?
I think you know why.
Oh, I wear big shoes. Got you. Okay. Short, long.
My arm length. What?
I'm just saying, if you went up against a class of middle schoolers in basketball, you'd get knocked out. Stop.
Me and you in the course in 10 minutes.
Okay.
Hello.
10 minutes? I can't even make it to a court in that amount of time.
Hello.
Exactly. Because
Hold
your
on.
legs are short.
Okay.
What?
At least you kind of do.
Yours are shorter than yours.
I can't.
Here.
What? No, they're like over here. You maybe here. Yes, they are. Tubular and rounded.
Oh my god.
I can't.
I mean, we get that color on the edge, but they're mostly cubular. And they're like very cubular. Unless we're talking stop signs, I'll go with right here. Well, zoinks.
Yeah, I was thinking like, stop signs. There's a mix of a lot of circular ones.
Yeah.
And a ball sign.
What?
You haven't tried yet?
The ball sign? What? Ball crossing? What do you mean the ball sign?
Like a ball. Like a circle sign.
We're gonna need that sign soon because something's gonna cross. Never mind. Temporary.
Or for it's
They live pretty long, don't they?
Is it forever long?
It's not forever long. Unless there is a all-powerful turtle deer.
TV turtle.
Okay, then right here.
So it's close to forever.
Yeah, like almost. They live for a long time.
Yeah, okay, yeah. You can see. What's the middle ground of it? It's obviously we're forever, and us loving apart is temporary. There's nothing in the middle.
Wait, what was that?
Wait, can you make it there?
Oh, what do you mean we're forever? Yeah. Tiny Gymnosaurus.
You.
Right, trout for an eye, very tall. They're kind of like dainty and
I mean, strong. So it's gonna be me.
You like alien or like that? This is one of the shows you know, like you like the person. It just got shown the person.
Unknown. Alex so old that his first pet was a dinosaur. When he was still a prince.
There. One less place for him to
Christmas
hide.
was the first Christmas. He had an underground Bible.
It's like chicken buns. You like alien or like that? Just a alien. You know what you look like? You like a person that just got shaved. Y'all my face. That's why I alligator.
Where's my charger?
Literally 2 days ago, they said I was literally flying the house.
RJ donated $1. Alex so old that his first pet was a dinosaur. Joey Burger King when he was still a prince. Alex's first Christmas was the first Christmas. He has an autographed Bible.
Waiters, how did you convince every customer to leave a tip? The coffee shop I worked at was going to shut down in 3 weeks, and I was the only one with a plan. We tried everything. Flyers, billboards, social media posts that got 4 likes, 2 from coworkers and 1 from my mom. People would walk right past our door and go straight to the Starbucks 2 blocks down like we were completely invisible. So one afternoon, he sits us all down and says, I need you guys to do whatever it takes. Immediately, I looked at the tip jar sitting on the counter, $3 and a button that said, World's Best Grandma, and something clicked. The very next customer that walked in, I greeted her like she was the person I'd been waiting to see all day. She ordered a latte with caramel drizzle. I leaned forward slightly, lowered my voice, and said, Oh, I'm so sorry, we've actually been having trouble keeping the caramel in stock. Funding's been really tight lately. She went, Oh no, don't even worry about it, keep it. And when the payment screen came up, I slid it across the counter just enough so the no tip button was basically off the edge, looked her dead in the eyes, and held eye contact. Old puppy dog commitment. She tipped 50%. I turned around, walked to the back, and silently screamed into a dish towel. So I kept the routine going. Every customer, same order of operations. Compliments, base supply shortage, emotional eye contact. A guy came in 2 days later ordering an iced coffee with oat milk. I told him we've been struggling to afford specialty milks since we don't get the volume that the bigger chains do. He nodded slowly. He tipped 40% and said, Keep fighting, guys. Sir, we're fine. The oat milk is right there. By noon on the 3rd day, the tip jar was completely...
Turn your TV down.
Look at me. He just went to the back and came out with a second jar. By the end of the
When he's weird, charmed, alternate items really aren't that frightening once you get to know them. If you figure out what they like or don't like, you know, what sets them off, then there's nothing to worry about. I guess at the end of the day, we're still just wild animals scared of our own shadows. We're supposed to be on the same page.
You trust me. At the end of that month, the shop hit its highest revenue week since opening. My manager put up a little sign on the counter with my name on it, Employee of the Month, lying to people's faces. Waiters, how did you convince every customer to leave a tip? The coffee shop I worked at was going to shut down in 3 weeks, and I was the only one with a plan. We tried everything. Flyers, billboards, social media posts that got 4 likes, 2 coworkers, and 1 from my mom. People would walk right to the front door and go straight to the Starbucks 2 blocks down like we were completely invisible. So one afternoon, he sits us all down and says, I need you guys to do whatever it takes. Immediately, I looked at the tip jar sitting on $6 and a button that said, World's Best Grandma, and something clicked. The very next customer that walked in, I greeted her like she was the person I'd been waiting to see all day. She ordered a latte with caramel drizzle. I leaned forward slightly, lowered my voice, and said, Oh, I'm so sorry, we've actually been having trouble keeping the caramel in stock. She went, Oh no, don't even worry about it, keep it. And when the payment screen came up, I slid it across the counter. The no tip button was basically off the edge, looked her dead in the eyes, and held eye contact. Old puppy dog commitment. She tipped 50%. I turned around, walked to the back, and silently screamed into a dish towel. So I kept the same order of operations, compliments, base supply shortage, emotional eye contact. A guy came in 2 days later ordering a coffee with oat milk. I told him we've been struggling to...
Like I was saying before, I lost my train of thought. Oh, right. We're supposed to be on the same team, but sometimes it feels like it's every department for themselves, like it's a race and we're all trying to be number one. If it is a race, though, I'd say Darling is a mile ahead. He was Trench's golden boy for years, but that relationship has gotten worse. Or so I've heard through the grapevine. Not that I respect rumors.
He's just gonna talk forever, isn't he?
This guy, they look so much alike that his girlfriend could never tell him. Once they showed up late for a date, so his girlfriend stormed over to his place. Here he is, when she's still sleeping. She got even angry, but the person in front of her looked totally calm because the guy was her actual boyfriend. The younger twin was not a fun thing, so he snuck after them on their date and while the other twin. He took his place. Sure. Later, during the meal, while the older twin was picking up his food, the younger twin snuck in and finished all of it. He thought he'd get away with it, but the older twin caught him in the end. Still, they forgave him pretty quickly. What no one expected was that when their mom heard the story, she assumed he was too. So she set him up with a girlfriend. As it turned out, this girl couldn't come to she saw something dirty in his face and reached out. With knowledge, she didn't get angry. Instead, she got a plate of food and tried to feed it, only to be rejected again. She couldn't hold it in anymore and blew up at him, but the guy told her he wasn't her boyfriend. That's when she realized she'd mixed up the brothers, but the girl thought the twins were doing this on purpose. So she and the other girl were decided to begin together. They immediately got up and pretended to give the guy massages. When their father saw this, he thought the boys were bullying the girls and was curious. Their mother even jumped towards her. This guy had an identical twin.
She literally kicked out herself at the store. So now I'm thinking, either the teacher mixed up kids, or my daughter is running some kind of operation. That night, I don't think, I took her lunch like usual. Sandwich, fruit, little snack, juice. Next morning, I watched her. She comes downstairs, grabs her phone, and she talks. We put the counter, put the phone call, she back to the door, and then, very casually, she slides the lunch box. I just completely ignored her. I stood there thinking, oh, this is no. So later that day, hey, your teacher said you haven't been bringing your lunch. No hesitation, no carrot. Oh yeah, that's because the school gives us free pizza every day now. Every day. I thought, pizza? Every day? Yeah, it's like a new program. At this point, I already know she's lying, so now I'm invested. So I ask, oh really? What kind of pizza? And we're not missing a beat, she goes, different one. Monday pepperoni, Tuesday cheese, Wednesday dessert. I had to physically look away so I wouldn't laugh, but I keep pushing. Wow, that's crazy. Did the teacher get it too? She goes, yeah, that's really good. Now she's warm. So I go, what about next? And she goes, we get it too. That's me. Because last year she was just sitting there sitting there like, this is not teaching us.
Just don't understand the older items like I do, you know? I don't want to brag, but it does take a very empathetic mind to connect with the items.
Doesn't want to brag. Right.
I mean, the teams in research handle paranatural materials every day, and no one thinks they're weird. Well, maybe that's not true. Darling is famous for being a bit out there. When he's weird, it's charming. Altered items really aren't that frightening once you get to know them. If you figure out what they like or don't like, you know, what sets them off, then there's nothing to worry about. I guess at the end of the day, we're still just wild animals scared of our own shadows. We're supposed to be on the same team, but sometimes it feels like it's every department for themselves, like it's a race and we're all trying to be number one. If it is a race, though, I'd say Darling is a mile ahead. He was Trench's golden boy for years. That relationship has you know, people talk. Not me. I keep my nose.
Dude, all together. I'm about to own the whole place. I'm just saying,
She's going on
series
like
finals
5 years, but
yeah,
that
we're shooting
relationship has
games.
gotten pretty tense, and so I've heard some great things. Not that I spread rumors, just, people talk. Not me, though. I keep my nose to the grind. Too much work to do to focus on those kinds of things. I need to stay focused so I can get my work done and get home to feed Alfred.
This
One
is a
word
lot for a
announcement.
morning.
Like you're announcing something. Oh, I'm good. Yeah, all right.
She's very nice. Her name is
For real.
She's older. She came to New York in the 50s to attend school and has been here ever since.
No, it's going to be you. So wonderful. You know, I was going to say your smartass decided to put announcement, but you ever heard of my Eminem?
Eminent?
Eminem.
That actually helped you a lot.
Woo! Oh my God, there was another one.
Yes, there was.
Now the real question is, did you spell announcement wrong and put an E in front? I think so.
I am questioning if I spelled this word wrong.
Alright, you got it. Okay. I see you. That means I know exactly what it is. In case. Yeah, that's right. In case. Yes, nice. In Cayman. In David. In it. That's serious. Yeah, we're engaging in recording Minecraft together. It's crazy. Yeah, obviously. Yeah, that would be weird.
I would love it.
Whatever.
Hi, Aries. Hi. I have what that we built and
Name something of Steve Harvey's you'd like to touch.